Welcome to the third episode of Random Respawn. We have not been canceled yet, which is a surprise. Today, on this fabulous episode, we'll be talking about Adam Orth and his tweets, the announcement of Batman Arkham Origins, EA sucking, and I think that'll be it. I'm Joshua Chagani, and this is
Marshall Behringer at your service.
All right, Marsh, why don't you kick us off with the first topic of today?
First topic of the day. Do we want to talk about EA first, or do we want to talk about Batman?
You know, it's all so game news oriented.
It's such a good day today. I love it.
It is. Well, let's talk about
Actually, you know
EA.
what? Hold on. Let's take a step back. Let's go back to our first question. What are you playing, Josh?
Oh my goodness! I can't believe I almost broke tradition.
You son of a bitch!
I know.
Our 3-episode tradition that we've had since we started this podcast.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my god!
I am still playing the Ni no Kuni. It is very good. It really is a cool game. You know, at times it feels like a kid's game because it kind of has like the lore and story of a child's tale.
Yeah,
but it's really deep, and you know that, you know, an 8-year-old couldn't customize his character to maybe the best extent, or I just terribly underestimate 8-year-olds.
Hey man, 8-year-olds these days and kids in kindergarten, they learn a bunch of shit, which, you know, back in my day, which, you know, making me feel old, we barely learned anything besides maybe a little bit of grammar and a little bit of math. But
you're nearing your 30s, so
I am not, sir. I take offense to that.
But no, it may be because I don't have kids. Everyone's kids impress me. I don't know the age at which they learn things. So, you know, a kid could be in high school, and I'm astounded that they can do simple multiplication. I'm like, I didn't know multiplication until I was in college, but that's not the case at all. I was doing multiplication around third grade, and I just don't have any reference. I don't know what I was doing at what age I was at. Parents are talking about their kids, like, and I meet them and they're 7, and I'm like, you can speak in full complete sentences, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm not a baby.
Wow, that actually is really damn impressive, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, especially those 7-year-olds and their language. But no, it's just speak. I just have no idea or any concept of age and intellect. But that's a different thing. But no,
you've been playing Ni no Kuni.
Playing Ni no Kuni. Haven't gotten a chance to install any of the games that we talked about yesterday. I'm still house sitting. I'm basically on a house sitting tour. And nice. This is the second house that I've been to.
You're just going to tour America now, house sitting.
Just house sitting from house to house. And
so proud of you, Josh.
There was honestly a 3-week period, and this is I'm leading up to the end of the 3rd week where I haven't been in my apartment at all because I've just been going from house to house sitting. That's 3 houses in one sentence that I said.
Well done.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
How about you, my friend?
Well, this past weekend there was the announcement that there was the free weekend for Red Orchestra 2 on Steam, developed by Tripwire Interactive, which was released about a year ago, I want to say. You can, I'm pretty sure, still get it right now for maybe a total of $3, and that includes the original Red Orchestra. For those who do not know, Red Orchestra is a first-person shooter set in World War II on the Eastern Front between the Russians and the Germans. It is... I'm gonna be perfectly honest. It's a buggy as all hell game, but god damn, it's fun.
Red Orchestra isn't what is it? Return to Castle Wolfenstein? Isn't that also a World War II shooter?
You could say that, yes.
Anyways, the only reason I bring that up, Red Orchestra reminded me, I thought Castlevania and Escape from Castle Wolfenstein were the same games, and so people would always talk about
not even close.
Oh no, not even
even close.
They are so far separate from each other. But that's what I thought, because they both have very eccentric names, and I just for a long time because I never played Castlevania or Escape from Castle Wolfenstein. So they both.
Wait, have you ever played Return to Castle Wolfenstein?
No.
I'd highly recommend it if you can find it.
I hear good things about it, but no, this was, what was that, for the PlayStation?
I want to say it was
2?
for PlayStation 2, for PC, and the original Xbox, I want to say.
It could have. I didn't get an Xbox until Halo 2 came out.
Oh, okay. I know that the console version of it actually has a setup like a mission or two before you get captured, because in the PC version, which originally came out for it, you literally start off in Castle Wolfenstein escaping. But the console version, you actually have the missions that set up you getting captured with your dude.
Got it. But once when my tour of West Michigan houses comes to an end, I will hop on that PC bandwagon and play the heck out of some of those games.
Awesome. But besides Red Orchestra 2, which, God, it really is just a buggy mess where I can't find servers, I can't connect to them. Like, if I try and go prone and then try and stand up at the same time, I literally go into this consistent state of, like, stuttering into which I can't move, and I probably look like the biggest idiot on the field where it's like, hey, come shoot me, I can't move. But shooting a dude from 150 meters away with a bolt-action rifle with no scope is just, it is one of the more satisfying games.
Reminds me of my Counter-Strike days.
Oh, yes. Way back in the day. So good. I still need to play that game every now and then. Do you have CSGO?
No, I still have CS Source and 1.6. I haven't gotten Go yet because I knew that I couldn't put the time into it that I put CS Source. But that may change when I'm done house sitting.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We used to do
fantastic.
We used to do homework in high school while playing Counter-Strike Source. We would all hop on Vent and in between deaths do math problems together.
I expect nothing less from you.
It was very efficient.
What else? Oh God, I'm burping. Keep that in. I hope you keep that in. Don't edit that out. What else am I playing? I've been playing the demo of the Kerbal Space Program, which I sent you that text message, but you apparently never got. It's kind of like a spaceship simulator, if you want to call it that. And
like Faster Than Light?
No, it is not FTL. Not even close. It's just simply you create a rocket ship and see if you can get into space and see if you can get it on the moon or a different planet and set up space stations if you can.
That sounds very similar.
It's really
to
complicated. But I was so proud that I got my first spaceship into space. But then I realized when I got it up there and I literally ejected everything but the little pod, I realized, wait, how do I get back? So last time I saved it, I had my one little dude just fucking flying, not even like in a circumference. He's not even orbiting the planet. He's gone, and he's just going until God knows what happens.
That's pretty funny until the nearest star grabs him.
I don't even know if that's going to happen. Hopefully, he'll get lucky, and the moon will orbit into him and kill him. But
that's lucky that he
find that hard to believe
crashes into the moon. That's a good day in space when the moon runs into you.
And Soviet space program runs into you.
You don't explore space; space explores you.
Oh God, we can keep that up all day.
We could.
And then finally, I don't know if you know this, but I got a message from a friend of mine saying that the Injustice Gods Among Us demo came out, and I tried that. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
you should
no.
go check that out as soon as we're done. Seriously, do it now, actually. You should.
All right, time out. I'm just going to continue the podcast.
Take a fucking pause from this and go play it.
Everyone just hang tight. I'm going to go download a game.
But really, unfortunately, there's no Xbox Live multiplayer for it. Sadly, it's only versus multiplayer that you can have. And then there is a small battle system, kind of like the ladder in Mortal Kombat. You have a total of 3 characters you can choose from in the demo: Batman, Wonder Woman, and Lex Luthor. Odd
Interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Very odd combination. I played as Batman because, I'm such a douchebag like that. Not even Lex. I might go with Lex, though. He seems pretty cool. The ranking system, you just go through, play on like beginner mode through extreme mode. I tried it on medium for the first time because I had no idea what I was doing. It's a lot of fun. And
it's doing the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 technique where it's it's light, medium, heavy. There's no like high block, low punch, high punch, and stuff like that. It's just 3 buttons, really, right?
I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, A button is low. X is I was playing on the 360. A button is low. X is medium. Y is high. I want to say something along those lines. And then B is your kind of character move. Batman's in this case is over time he'll actually like regenerate these like bats that you essentially when you hit the B button, you can activate them. They kind of count as like these little floating things. If you get hit, you lose them. But you can actually call them while you're fighting, and then during your combo, you can hit the character button, and then they'll literally fly at the character, your enemy that you're fighting, and do more damage. And that's just Batman. I know other people like Cyborg, one of his abilities that he has for his character is he'll regenerate health. Lex has a shield that he can use, including Doomsday. He was actually the final dude that you fought in the demo. You couldn't play him, though. Even on medium, he was kind of kicking my ass, but I managed to squeak a victory, which felt so good.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've tended to notice compared to Mortal Kombat is there is no dedicated block button, which is kind of nice. You just have to hold back.
I love the block button.
And then another thing is rounds don't really exist in this game. If you lose a full bar of your health, you've got a second one essentially, but you just keep kind of fighting. There's a slight pause to when you like beat a dude like in a quote round end quote, and then you keep fighting, and the bars don't reset. Like if you're kicking that dude's ass for that first round and you've lost only maybe half of your first bar of health, you keep that. And so you essentially have a bar and a half of health compared to his bar.
I will say that I love having a block button. I love it. But I started off Mortal Kombat 4, and I rocked that game like a hurricane.
I don't think I ever... No, that's a lie. I did play it. I've pretty much played all the Mortal Kombat games, but they all, at this point, blurred together for me, and I can't remember which one's which.
After 4, they changed so much that I just didn't get into it. And then when they redid the Mortal Kombat game, I was totally into that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the second podcast where I've been talking about Mortal Kombat.
You really like Mortal Kombat.
I gotta stop talking about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, you should probably stop talking about Mortal Kombat. No, you can keep talking about them. They're awesome.
They're so good.
Shall we get into the news?
Let's get into the news.
First order of business. A new Batman game has been announced. Everyone rejoice!
I am mixed. In all honesty, I'm not that excited.
Oh, you're terrible.
But the thing is Rocksteady isn't doing the game. It's WB Montreal that's doing it. And it's not that I think that they're bad. I just really wanted a Batman Beyond game.
We all want a Batman Beyond game. And here's the thing, though. Rocksteady is still making something. We don't know what it is yet. So there is the chance that they could actually be making a Batman Beyond game. There's still that chance.
That would be...
I really hope that it is.
Oh,
that'd be
man.
fucking awesome.
That would be phenomenal. And another thing that I'm not too crazy about this Arkham Origins is that you get to play in Gotham, which is cool. But I feel like it's going to be exactly like Arkham City, except now you're in Gotham. So is the city going to be bigger? And if it's bigger, I don't necessarily think that's a better thing. I liked how big Arkham City was because you could still get around everywhere. And having random acts of violence made sense because you were in a confined area of Gotham. Like, you know, they put all the criminals there. So it made sense that crazy stuff was just happening randomly all throughout the streets. Whereas in Gotham, it doesn't make sense to me to have random fights occur between prisoners and stuff like that when you're just in the streets of Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely, hopefully, I really hope that they add the Batmobile as an actual vehicle that you can use. Because if they are going to actually make this even larger than Arkham City, they're going to need modes of transportation besides flying. I mean, you could be super quick with your grappling hook in Arkham City, but that type of speed is not going to be enough for what you kind of want to do in the entirety of Gotham. So get like the Batwing, get the Batmobile, get all those vehicles in there. That'd be awesome.
That's a really good... I completely agree. That's a really good point. And in Arkham City, he didn't have the Batmobile because there was no way to get it on the island.
Because, it was a giant wall.
Right. So that would be a neat addition. My biggest fear is that it's too much like Arkham City, and the Joker's not going to be in it because Mark Wahlberg retired.
Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Hamill.
Wow.
Marky Mark from New Kids on the Block is no longer doing the Joker. Hey, goat. Say hi to mother for me. Hey, dog. Say hi to your mother for me.
You got a beard like I had in The Perfect Storm. Did you watch The Perfect Storm?
Mark Hamill is not doing the voice of the Joker.
There you go.
And I don't know if that means the Joker's not going to be in the game at all and they're just getting someone else to voice it, or if they're done with the Joker character.
I'd say give him a break. If they want, they can have it as a setup at the very end of the game, kind of like at the end of Arkham Asylum when you get the call that like Two-Face is robbing the bank, and that's one of the first people you see in Arkham City is like kind of right after you kind of beat him up and then throw him in there, I guess. You could almost kind of end this game if you really wanted to with like, hey, Joker's planning something, you have to go get him. And then that could be the nice segue into Arkham Asylum where, hey, you've already captured the Joker and you're, sending him to Arkham Asylum.
That would be kind of neat. That would be neat indeed.
So that way you don't necessarily need him. He's just doing his own thing.
I like how in this game, from what I've read, you're actually being introduced to some of these villains for the first time. Not that they're introducing completely new villains, but in terms of the villains in the game, it'll be the first time Batman experiences them. Whereas in the other games, Batman already knew about Two-Face and the Joker and Clayface and all the other villains. This will be the first time he encounters some of the assassins.
Interesting.
Right.
Well, then, if that's the case in the timeline, how far back are we compared to Arkham Asylum?
Right. I don't know. They haven't released a lot about it, but there was a small video on WB Montreal's page kind of talking about the development that they've been in and the types of things that they're trying to do for the game. And one of those was they briefly hit upon that they wanted this to be Batman being introduced to these villains. So he doesn't necessarily know everything about them, and he learns a little bit about them. And so I guess in the process of learning about these villains, that's how you figure out how to fight them and whatnot. Deadshot's probably going to be in it. I'd be really surprised if Deadshot wasn't in it, considering
Deathstroke is in it, and I'm so friggin' happy that he finally is.
Yeah. Who's the sniper guy, though?
That was Deadshot.
Deathstroke's definitely going to be in it, but Deadshot also, because it said 8 of the world's best assassins, and Deadshot's always... He never misses.
Well, then, wait. Who the fuck are the other assassins?
I don't know, but like I said...
I haven't checked my Batman lore in a while, so...
I didn't know... I don't think that there's... I mean, other than the League of Shadows...
That doesn't... A whole...
It's actually... It's the League of Assassins, but... They changed the name for Dark Knight. I forget which one's the correct one. I think it's the League of Assassins is the correct term, but they called it the League of Shadows in the new Batman movies.
Oh, you're right. I never caught that.
And Raj Al Ghul instead of Rage.
Yeah.
But that's
I like to call him Raz. I don't know. It sounds more right than Rage Al Ghul. It seems a little bit off to me.
I agree. And we also know a guy named Raj, so it doesn't help either.
That's very true. Okay, on to the next topic. We have good news. The Consumerist has announced at the end of their Worst Company of America competition that they have every year that Electronic Arts has yet again for the second time in a row, and at first for Consumerist, they have won the World's Worst Company in America. Woo! Huzzah. I'm kind of glad, though. This is now the second time in a row that Electronic Arts has won the Golden Poo Award, and they have usurped the throne yet again from Bank of America. Last year, EA went up against Bank of America in the polling, and EA promptly kicked the crap out of them. Actually, this year, EA pretty much stomped the ground with whoever they went up against by at least most of the time. EA won with over 70% of the vote. I think it might have been against Facebook or AT&T, but they won like 90% of the vote against whatever they went up against. It was ridiculous.
And they beat Bank of America by 78%, right?
Yes.
That is 70% quite a feat.
By 22, whatever the hell the number is.
Considering how terrible Bank of America is, that's impressive.
And for all the people who are wondering, why are we voting for a video game company when, there are legitimate companies who are actually terrible, like Bank of America? Well, here's the thing. All of those other companies don't really give a shit about this poll. I mean, they kind of laugh at it as if it's a joke. I mean, you're essentially getting a golden poo trophy. And hell, even Comcast, when they won it one year, they sent the consumers a thank you letter like, thank you for giving us this wonderful trophy, yada, yada, yada. What we do it, though, for this reason against Electronic Arts is that EA kind of gets a little bit flustered, if you will. I mean, last year, they sent out a kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A kind of a bitter letter saying, hey, I don't know why we're being held against these standards against, like tobacco companies and weapons manufacturers. And, my first thought was, you just put yourself in a room with all those people. What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
But really, it's more like a, hey, EA, stop being stupid. But really, we just like to troll them, and it's fun because they're the only company on this entire list of all these terrible companies that will actually respond.
Let's go to the Adam Orth tweets.
Alrighty, let me bring this up real quick. Okay, so for those who do not know what on earth we are talking about, Adam Orth is a creative director over at Microsoft Studios. And recently, there was a report that Microsoft's new Xbox, whatever the hell they're going to call it, it's codenamed Durango, was going to be required an internet connection in order to play games. As in, you literally have to be connected to the internet when you turn on your Xbox. If you do not, you cannot play your games. You cannot play your single-player games. Now, Adam Orth, again, creative director over at Microsoft Studios, tweeted, sorry, I don't get the drama around having a, quote, always-on console. Every device now is always on. That's the world we lived in. Hashtag deal with it. Now, I mean, for all we know, this guy was just kind of ticked off about, the backlash that it's all been getting. And then, people responded, hey, dude, it's kind of a dick thing to say. To which then more angry things happened. And then finally, we had a release by Microsoft. Major Nelson has this on his website, and it, quote, I say, we apologize for the inappropriate comments made by an employee on Twitter yesterday. This person is not a spokesperson for Microsoft, and his personal views do not reflect the consumer-centric approach we take to our products or how we would communicate directly with our loyal consumers. We are very sorry if this offended anyone. However, we have not made any announcements about our product roadmap and have no further comment on this matter. Now, the big takeaway I'm getting from this is this guy who works for you, I mean, he's not a spokesperson for y'all, but we can assume that he kind of knows what's sort of going on with this new Xbox. He gets angry that, hey, what's wrong with being always on? Now, we don't necessarily know what he means by always on. There were rumors that the game console never necessarily turns off, but one of the things that it does when it's on is it'll check for updates and automatically apply to them, so that way you don't have to worry about downloading a new thing. That's one of the rumors, but the big one is always online, pretty much restricting for DRM, all that stuff. The second approach from this is Microsoft is just saying, hey, sorry that this guy was kind of a jerk. Okay, bye. They're not responding to the fact that, hey, this console's probably going to be online. Sorry.
The whole Twitter thing was Adam Orth, and he was tweeting another guy who worked at BioWare. The first tweet kind of came out of nowhere, and then the employee at BioWare, I think his name is Marcus, I could be totally wrong, but they got into kind of a Twitter war, but Adam Orth was really just trolling the guy at BioWare, and everyone was getting really ticked off. And even the guy at BioWare was like, hey guys, don't pay any attention to our tweets, we're really good friends, he was just trolling me. The thing is, he started trolling the BioWare employee after he made the always-on connection statement, and nowhere did anyone say that it wasn't always on. And in all honesty, he makes a good point. Everything is always connected, but that doesn't mean that your new console should always be connected. And the fact that, when you and I used to bring our consoles over to other people's houses, when we hooked the consoles up to each other, we weren't online. And the fact that you may have a game that's totally unplayable because you're not connected to the internet. So if your internet goes down, if you just move to a new place and you haven't set up cable or anything like that, you've got your TV and your console, and you can't play, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, just recently over the weekend, I brought my Xbox over to play Mortal Kombat with a couple of people in my grad school, and we had a blast. And the fact that if this new console is actually true, I wouldn't be able to do that anymore, and that's kind of ridiculous.
Another thing is that I've been reading about the potential DRM for the new Microsoft console is that the disc that you buy is basically there to just download the game onto the hard drive. And then after that, the disc is useless. You can't even give it to someone else because it registers the game to your console. And so you may not even be able to get secondhand games at all. And you couldn't even let your friend borrow a game. It's 100% locked to your
And it's
console.
not even necessarily it's locked to your console. It's, I believe, locked to your account that you have for your Xbox.
Yes, you're right.
So that means whatever console you have, if you download your profile to it, then you can possibly use it. But another rumor that I keep hearing about is involving the built-in Kinect that apparently comes with it, where it'll register your body for your account. And I keep hearing from more than one source that if there's more than one person in a room for something for your account or something like that, that you can't like play it. Like I don't know. The one issue that I'm kind of getting at here is every like major rumor that we've heard so far about the new Xbox has always been some sort of way to stop people from actually playing games, which is kind of ridiculous. And the worst part about it is Microsoft hasn't friggin' said anything. I mean, they were going to announce their Xbox, or the new one this year, or rather this month, I believe. It's either going to be at the end of March or the beginning of April, sometime around now. But last time I checked, they had to delay that announcement, kind of like Sony's press conference with the PS4. Microsoft was going to do something similar to that, but now they've delayed that until May. So until then, they've literally just been keeping their mouths shut. But it's at the point where it's like people have already made up their minds now. Even if you say, oh, we promise we don't have any type of online DRM or any of that crap, people don't care anymore. They've already decided, I'm going to get a PS4. Because, I mean, we never really questioned anything like that for the PS4, like if there was going to be kind of DRM type stuff. I never really heard any rumors about that, unlike the Xbox. But what was also nice was, as soon as that press conference came out for Sony, they were like, oh, don't worry, you can play your games offline no matter what. That's not a problem.
I have read about the Kinect thing, and I think that's totally false. I don't think that's going to be
more than likely it's not. I don't think there's even that type of technology that can register that.
Well, the Kinect is pretty garbage, but for Microsoft, the always-on DRM, you're right. I think it will be registered to their account. But if your account gets banned, does that mean you can never play the games that you have played? And Microsoft has banned a lot of people on wrong charges. I remember there was a guy who lived in the city that he lived in was actually called, it was gay, whatever the state was. And the city he lived in was gay. It was gay, Iowa, whatever. And they banned his account, and he tried for like 4 or 5 months, I think. It was some ridiculous amount of time saying, guys, listen, I live here. I've lived here my entire life.
I'm not trying to be a douchebag, I promise.
He sends them the driver's license and nothing for a long time. And then he took it to the internet. The internet exploded, and Microsoft apologized for him. But they mess up all the time. And for you to lose access to all of your games that you had purchased because of something that they did wrong, I think is totally out of line.
Yeah, it's really bad. Just everything about this just screams just stupidity, because even with like the stopping used games with that whatever code that could be on it, there's no way, even on a business standpoint, that doesn't make sense, because even if you're not making your money from used games, and used games go directly to, GameStop and places like that, even if you're not making money off of that, for crying out loud, you can still try and at least get the money through DLC that y'all have been doing for the past year or two now. I mean, there's still many ways that you can do that. But really, what you're trying to say is, we don't want you to buy used anymore. We want you to buy new. Wow, you. Wow, what am I saying anymore?
It's like a mail order bride. I want to buy you.
But one of the things I don't get is, like, do they not realize that a lot of gamers, like, buy used? I mean, how many people of the Call of Duty audience actually have a brand new copy of Call of Duty? How many of them actually buy new to begin with? It doesn't make sense. That this is just so anti-consumer that it just reeks of stupidity, and it makes me angry, and I can't talk now.
I don't think Microsoft really cares that much anymore. It sounds weird, but
it's almost as if they're kind of giving up.
And, you know, most of the hardcore gamers are on PC anyways, and they're basically all Microsoft games because that's what everyone programs for. So if you're not buying a game on the Xbox, then you're probably buying it on the PC. And the way
not necessarily depends on how crappy the port is.
Right, but the way that things are going, I mean, Battlefield 3, its lead console was the PC. And in a lot of articles that I've been reading about the PS4, they got rid of the cell architecture and they're using an x86 system, which is why it's not backwards compatible with PS3 games. But it's so much more like a computer now. So they said that, using or porting between the PS4 and a PC is way easier. And it just seems like that's the direction it's going. And Microsoft doesn't necessarily care about the console gamers or the hardcore gamers anymore because they're all kind of moving over to PC. And I think Microsoft just wants like the casual, I want to move my hand in front of the Kinect to start a channel crowd.
Yeah. One thing I also want to point out about the built-in Kinect that they have is, A, who's going to really use that? B, how much more is this console going to be because it's actually built in now? I mean, the Kinect was already, $150 to begin with?
I think $170.
Oh, God. That's going to be at least another $100 to this console. So I'd be surprised if it's less than $500.
I really don't think that that's going to play a factor. Microsoft released the Kinect. They don't care if anyone buys it. Microsoft had a ton of money, and I don't think they don't care anything about the sales for the Kinect. I think they just wanted to see if that was something that people would buy. And no one wanted to buy a Kinect, so they're like,
I don't know if they necessarily decided, hey, we're going to try and test this out to see if we want people to buy it. I mean, for the past year and a half, maybe, they've been doing a damn good job to try and shove the Kinect down our throats by saying, hey, it's better with Kinect, and all these games that came out for it, and just pretty much the last E3, I want to say, was dedicated to the Kinect, or at least the year before that. Like, they have been trying their damn hardest to try and at least make it accessible, I want to say, or at least, appealing, but everything about it has just failed.
I agree, but I don't think that them selling it was a priority. I think I messed that up. The sales weren't necessarily a priority. They just wanted to see if they could even sell it, if it was something that people would buy. Because if it was something that people would buy, they wouldn't include it in a box. But because no one's buying it, they're like, all right, we've got to include this in the box if we want anyone to have this. And it's kind of like how when Xbox Live first came out, when you bought Xbox Live or the starter kit, it came with a headset. I mean, that was kind of a neat thing, but everyone had a headset. So you knew if you were on Xbox Live, you had a headset and you could talk with somebody. And I feel like that's kind of what they're trying to do with this new Kinect.
The thing is, though, with the headset type stuff, I mean, that was pretty much a main selling point of that console to begin with, where you can talk to your friends and play with your friends. And, that was just the thing. With the Kinect, though, I mean, unless all their first-party games are going to be like really hardcore into the Kinect type stuff instead of the, hey, you say a word and he'll bring out that weapon that you asked and, stuff like that. But, I mean, if they don't have games for that, then, well, who's going to use it then? But B, even still, who's going to buy those games? I mean...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that Microsoft hasn't said anything to dispel any of the rumors. I don't know if they just want to be completely secretive until they release the console and everyone rejoices, or if these rumors have already taken their toll and no one's getting the next Xbox.
I don't know, but just to close things off, you were saying how the PS4 will not be backwards compatible because of the x86 architecture. I'm looking at a article from Polygon right here that's saying that the new Xbox that is reportedly using the AMD Jaguar chip, which is also going to be the same type of x86 architecture like the PS4, which means, ladies and gentlemen, that Xbox 360 games will not be playable on the new Xbox.
Wow, That is new to me. I did not know that. So even the Xbox, well, when the 360 came out, it had air quotes backwards compatibility for games, and
It was really shitty. They kind of gave up on that.
Oh, 100%. It was just an emulator, and it only worked for like real popular games. So if you were 10 people to buy one game, they didn't even try, and then it slowly got rid of it. So Xbox has never really had backwards compatibility. The Wii has, and the PS3 kind of did. So right now, the only console to actually have backwards compatibility is still the Wii U. But for a long time, that was never a feature. You never expected to have backwards compatibility,
except for the PlayStation 2.
Right. That was the console
a huge selling point
that
of that
introduced
console. And
it.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the main reasons why it was so damn successful was, hey, everyone, you don't have to worry about your old crappy PlayStation anymore. You could just buy this one and still play all your old games.
That was a huge reason why, for that generation of consoles, the PlayStation 2 won. In terms of graphics, it was the least superior. Xbox had the best graphics, followed by GameCube and then the PS2. But the library selection for the PS2, since it included every single PS1 game, was
massive.
Amazing. It was amazing. So that's really a big reason why it did so well for that generation of consoles, which is what, 4 generations ago?
Mm-hmm. That was, yeah. God, that's so long ago. But even still, even though the PS4 won't have backwards compatibility, from what they've said and what I guess I'm kind of interpreting this, they're trying their damnedest to put the entire PlayStation library, as in like from PlayStation to now, onto their network.
Yeah.
If they sell that for dirt cheap, all those games, and I mean dirt cheap, like a buck, you will have so many people flocking to it.
I agree. And Sony has taken a huge step in terms of developer support. Everything I keep reading says that they're doing everything that they can in order to accommodate the developer, which is excellent. In terms of the cell processor, from what I hear, I'm not coding any video games or anything like that, but from what I hear, it's insanely hard to program for, but it's also insanely powerful. I mean, you have games like Uncharted and The Last of Us that just look absolutely stunning. But unless you know how to program for it, you're not going to get the best gaming experience, which is why so many ports that started on the 360 and were ported over to the PS3 were terrible, like the Bayonetta port and Red Dead Redemption, if I remember correctly, when it first came out, was a downscaled version of the PS3 title. So that seems like it's going to change, especially with Sony catering so much to developers, which I think is the right way to go. If it's easy to program for and it looks great, why would you want to use a different system?
Consoles, man. Fucking crazy.
Consoles.
Well, we'll hopefully find out later this year, and at least we'll know what's going on with Microsoft next month.
Okay, so that'll be 3 episodes from now.
We'll see you in a month, folks.
Wow, guys, we're going on a month hiatus. 3 weeks of this, I am exhausted.
It's only the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. It's only the beginning. But I guess this wraps it up for another episode of Random Respawn.
I believe so. I don't have any trivia or racial comments to make, so I think that's it for me.
I guess that's a victory for all of us, including our viewers. So with that, I guess we're going to close it off tonight. Please check us out over at facebook.com/Random Respawn, including, if you want, follow us on Twitter at hashtag Random Respawn.
And
is it hashtags? I don't even know what that is.
No, we're at Random Respawn. And then
close enough.
And then we're trying to get this started. ##. So it's the hashtag, and then you write $, and that'll be our thing.
For all you young listeners out there, I don't think you understand the joke, but for all you old people out there, yeah, this one's for you.
I think I'm just going to cut that last part out. So let's just pretend that didn't happen.
No, we're going to keep that.
Oh, well, fantastic. Okay. We're also in the works of getting our Let's Play started, where we'll start updating our videos onto YouTube. So be on the lookout for that too.
Woo.
All right.
And with that, I am Marshall Behringer.
And I'm Joshua Gigani.
And we are signing off. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.